What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. This is the Texans Better. It's been a while. I am back, and football season is back this Thursday. I'm so excited. But let's get straight into this video, man. Here are 5 concerns I have for this newly revamped Houston Texans team. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more daily Texans content. Let's get straight into this, guys. We all know the news. Joe Mixon is going to miss at minimum the first 4 weeks of the season. After that, he's got to actually practice. He's got to ramp up. I don't know if you're even playing him in week 5, and then you're right around the bye week at week 6. So there's a chance Joe Mixon maybe comes back week 7, week 8. And then Caserio was asked, hey, do you envision Joe Mixon potentially like not playing this year? And he was just like, we'll take it one day at a time. And it's like, what? If Joe Mixon is out for the year, then things get a little dicier than they were originally looking. And I'm not going to sit here and say the Texans have done nothing to address this. Like, they've definitely made moves. They've drafted Woody Marks. They've signed Nick Chubb. But Joe Mixon was such an integral part of this Houston Texans offense last year. Like, literally over 1,000 yards in 13 games played, 11 touchdowns, 4.1 yards a carry with an offensive line that was just god-awful in the run. Like, you really have to, understand that Joe Mixon was the engine for this Houston Texans team. He put a lot of games away, and he won us a lot of games. And so that leaves us to question who's up next, and that would be Chubb as your RB1. Honestly, I don't love it. Chubb has looked pretty decent in the preseason, but there's the injury concerns as well as just him coming off of just major knee injuries. You really wonder how much is left in the tank for Nick Chubb, and I don't know if he's going to be able to carry a workload like a true running back one. So they might spread it out a bit. You might see Dameon Pierce get a couple more carries. He hasn't really showed you anything from his rookie year besides being a decent kick returner. Like, that's really about it. And even then, you only have a small sample size to go off of that. And so then you get to Woody Marks, and that's where I think Woody Marks might actually have potential to really showcase himself as a back that gets utilized a lot more than we all thought he would. Woody Marks was kind of sold to everyone as just a pass-catching back, and it does seem like he can do more than that. He had some bruising runs in the preseason. He did have some nice cutbacks. He had some nice vision, some good acceleration. Honestly, he hits harder than I thought he did just from his USC tape. So, Woody Marks might have to play a bigger role in this offense. At first, maybe the Texans are spreading out carries, but that running back one spot is open. Make no mistake about it. Just because Nick Chubb is there, it really means nothing. Like, we have to find a running back one, or we have to be content with just having 2 or 3 backs that we just share carries with. Either way, I'm worried, man. I just don't think, if you tell me Joe Mixon's not playing this year, I have a hard time believing the Texans are as good at running the football as they were last year. Unless really that offensive line, which we'll talk about in a second. Actually, we'll talk about right now. My next big concern is the rookie left tackle. I don't care what rookie you draft. I don't care if this is Josh Simmons out of Ohio State. I don't care if this is Kelvin Banks Jr. Like, a rookie left tackle is going to scare me because there are going to inevitably be times where they look bad. That is the reality. Get used to it. Ursery's going to have a couple bad plays, especially against that Rams front 4 that we're about to play. Like, Ursery's going to get beat. He's going to look bad on some front plays. That being said, a rookie at the left tackle spot, there's always growing pains. I'm not necessarily worried about that, but I am worried about everything else going on behind Ursery. Blake Fisher can't play tackle. He just looks terrible. There's no way Blake Fisher is a backup left tackle. So now you have Cam Robinson as your left tackle, who's getting paid $12 million a year, up to $14.5 million just to essentially sit on the bench. And I know Cam Robinson's not happy about that. I think that's part of the reason why the Texans were trying to trade him. But in reality, there was plenty of analysts basically saying, hey, if Cam Robinson is your starting left tackle, you're in trouble. And so, as we've seen, that might be true because Ursery beat him out without playing a single snap in a real game. So Ursery's our left tackle. I think it's fine. It's our best option. It's the best we could do. It's just scary. Okay, I don't want people to beat up on Ursery. He is a rookie playing a very hard position to play at the NFL level, but that is another concern. I just hope we get through his growing pains, with minimal hits on the quarterback. I think that's all we can ask for. Just be aware of it and accept it. And then moving down, I'm not as concerned about this, but it's definitely a talking point that's been brought up. Who is the wide receiver 2? Like, Christian Kirk has looked pretty solid when he's been healthy, which has not been, for the majority of the last few seasons. Even then, let's say you give me a healthy Christian Kirk. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that's like an amazing wide receiver too. And I don't think you have to. I don't think you need to Nico Collins. I don't think you need an amazing second receiver. But if you really want to make this offense explosive, you have to start wondering who that second wide receiver is going to be. Like I said, I do think the Texans have addressed it. You have Jalen Noel, you have Jaden Higgins, you have Christian Kirk, obviously Watson, Berrios, some Hutchinson, even some other names that you can throw around. But I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be like Christian Kirk is our wide receiver too. Maybe towards the beginning of the year, he is the wide receiver too. And then maybe as we go throughout the season, we kind of spread that out. Maybe Higgins starts making, a bigger role for himself. Maybe Noel starts getting a bigger role. Whatever it is, that wide receiver two spot's a little interesting. I'm not a fan of having like 3 or 4 receivers that are all okay. Like, I want 2 really good receivers on an offense. And so I don't know if Christian Kirk can give you that huge ceiling. I'm not trying to disrespect him. He's excellent out of the slot. He's amazing. But I want an explosive guy. I'm hoping it's Higgins. It might actually be Noel, just at least early on, until Higgins kind of figures some things out with his route running and with his body as well. But the wide receiver 2 question mark is definitely still there. And then you knew this was going to come up. I mean, I already talked about Ursery, so I'm not going to talk about him as much. But the O-line construction leaves more to be desired. Titus Howard is the only remaining offensive lineman that's going to start for this team. And he's starting at a position that he kind of got kicked out of last year. He played a lot more guard last year because he had to and because Blake Fisher went in at right tackle. Titus Howard has been good at camp. He's been an okay right tackle. You're paying him like a right tackle, and he's finally playing the position. So I don't have too many qualms about that. But Laken Tomlinson, I mean, he was on a Seahawks offensive line that was just flat out not good. Ursery's a rookie. Ed Ingram has not looked amazing at all either. And then you've got Jake Andrews as your starting center, which is fine. They obviously like him. He comes from the Patriots. It just looks like an underwhelming offensive line. You would have hoped that maybe Titus could play guard, maybe Ursery could play right tackle, and then you could fit Cam in at left tackle, so you're not having to throw in Ed Ingram. But like with Cam Robinson being injured, with him being basically just he can only play left tackle, like you're kind of forced to give Ed Ingram some meaningful snaps. And I could see honestly Ed Ingram being the weak link of the line. I'm worried, man. I'm worried we're going to start repeating and saying the same things we said last year about the offensive line with this offensive line. Unfortunately, it's just not giving me. I have hope. I'm not going to sit here and say it's all bleak and we can't do anything about it. I'm just a little worried, and that's all I'm saying. And then my last point of concern would be the lack of a tight end room. There are only 2 tight ends on the roster right now. I'm not saying that's not going to change. It could very well change. But right now you have Dalton Schultz and his uninspiring numbers from last year. I get it. He's a tight end. He's not supposed to be an explosive weapon. But there are tight ends in the league who look a lot better than Dalton Schultz. And I'm wondering if Dalton Schultz is reaching the age where we might have seen the best from him in Stroud's rookie year. He just might not have anything else left in the tank. We'll see. He did seem to claim that he was playing injured last year. Sure, whatever. I'd love for that to be true, but only 2 touchdowns on the year. You can see his stats, very uninspiring. And then, of course, Cade Stover, I'm not going to be as harsh on just because he's a second-year player. He was a rookie last year. I do think he can grow. I do think he's a better blocker than Schultz. Not an amazing blocker, though. And so, yeah, you can see the stats from Cade Stover. So we're really going to have to rely on our wide receiving weapons. Our weapons at wide receiver. But, yeah, I don't see this tight end room being super explosive. Maybe Caley can scheme them open since he was a former tight ends coach to give them tips and really maximize their ceiling. That's where my hope for that would be. But those are kind of my 5 concerns as we go into this video, into this season. Don't worry, it's not all bleak. I'll make other videos talking about highlights, talking about key moments I really like. And so, yeah, that's really all I got for this video, guys. But let me know, am I overreacting? Am I underreacting? Are there things I'm missing? Just let me know. I will see you guys in the next one, man. Peace out.